Part 1 of The Ruby and the Cauldron. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Crln. The Ruby and the Cauldron by Katharine Green. Part 1. As there were two good men on duty that night, I did not see why I should remain at my desk, even though there was an unusual stir created in our small town by the grand ball given at the Evergreens. But just as I was preparing to start for home, an imperative ring called me to the telephone and I heard, "Hello, is this the police station?" "It is." "Well then, a detective is wanted at once at the Evergreens. He cannot be too clever or too discreet. A valuable jewel has been lost, which must be found before the guests disperse for home. Large reward if the matter ends successfully and without too great publicity." "May I ask who is speaking to me?" "Mrs. Ashley." It was the mistress of the Evergreens and giver of the ball. "Madam, a man shall be sent at once. Where will you see him?" "In the butler's pantry at the rear. Let him give his name as Jennings." "Very good. Good-bye." "Good-bye." A pretty piece of work. Should I send Hendricks or should I send Hicks? Hendricks was clever and Hicks was discreet, but neither united both qualifications in the measure demanded by the sensible and quietly resolved woman with whom I had just been talking. What alternative remained? But one. I must go myself. It was not late, not for a ball night at least, and as half the town had been invited to the dance, the streets were alive with carriages. I was watching the blink of their lights through the fast falling snow when my attention was drawn to a fact which struck me as peculiar. These carriages were all coming my way instead of rolling in the direction of the Evergreens. Had they been empty this would have needed no explanation, but as far as I could see, most of them were full and that, too, with loudly talking women and gesticulating men. Something of a serious nature must have occurred at the Evergreens. Rapidly I paced on, and soon found myself before the great gates. A crowd of vehicles of all descriptions blocked the entrance. None seemed to be passing up the driveway, all stood clustered at the gates, and as I drew nearer I perceived many an anxious head thrust from their quickly opened doors, and heard many an ejaculation of disappointment as the short interchange of words went on between the drivers of these various turnouts, and a man drawn up in quiet resolution before the unexpectedly barred entrance. Slipping around to this man's side, I listened to what he was saying. It was simple but very explicit. "Mrs. Ashley asks everybody's pardon, but the ball cannot go on tonight. Something has happened which makes the reception of further guests impossible. Tomorrow evening she will be happy to see you all. The dance is simply postponed." This he had probably repeated 40 times, and each time it had probably been received with the same mixture of doubt and curiosity which now held the lengthy procession in check. Not wishing to attract attention, yet anxious to lose no time, I pressed up still nearer and, bending toward him from the shadow cast by a convenient post, uttered the one word: "Jennings." Instantly he unlocked a small gate at his right. I passed in and, with professional sang-froid, proceeded to take my way to the house through the double row of evergreens bordering the semicircular approach. As these trees stood very close together and were besides heavily laden with fresh fallen snow, I failed to catch a glimpse of the building itself until I stood in front of it. Then I saw that it was brilliantly lighted, and gave evidence here and there of some festivity, but the guests were
Sample complete. Ready to continue?